her hands up, settle down. That we take up our time for you. Of all the speakers up here, and all are very special, I want you all to meet my husband, Eli. I'll turn the mic over now to Ms. Saida Montecero Padilla, and she will introduce our other speakers. I think all teachers have the program at this time. We could share with the students. Thank you.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning. Buenos dias. The person that I'm about to introduce to you is someone who is one of the founders of a very important organization. And that organization is called To Save Latin America Incorporated. He's a gentleman who is interested, very interested in the youth, and in saving the youth, because too many of the Hispanic youth in our state drop out of school. And the whole idea of this program is to help you to be motivated and finish school and get to the goals in your life that will make you succeed. So I have the pleasure this morning of introducing to you Mr. Johnny Torres. Please welcome him.
Thank you, Mrs. Padillas, and good morning. Buenos días. ¿Cómo se sienten? Very good. That is a very energetic group over here. Very good. My name is Johnny Torres, and I am with a company called, as you heard before, Save Latin America, Inc. Save Latin America, Inc. is a civic organization whose mission is to provide a better access of information to Hispanics on the services and opportunities available. One of the things that we are very, very much concerned with is the education of our youth, simply because you are the future. We have tonight here people in government, business people, social workers, and as I look around the room, I see a lot of business people, social workers, lawyers, doctors, teachers, and so on and so on. God knows how many powerful leaders are in this room right now. But you know what? Very, very simple. You could, by not finishing your formal education, you could waste that leadership. And that is what we come in. We have put together a program that is called Reaching Our Dreams. And the idea is to bring Hispanic personalities to talk to you. People that come from humble beginnings, just like you. People that have made it in their lives. People that have reached their dreams because they finished their education. We in Save Latin America believe that your success in life is always related to your level of education. So how many of you want to be successful in life? Hands up. Terrific. Terrific. I want the camera to pick this up. Keep the hands up. You want to be successful in life, yes or no? Yes, that's it. Well, you are about to could put your hands down now, and you are about to hear from 3 Puerto Ricans that work very hard, and I like to stress the word work very hard. That phrase is very important. You know why? Because some of us, when young, we think that success comes down from heaven in a silver platter. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? That is not the reality. The reality is that everything that you want in life requires work and sacrifice. So it's not true that you're going to pass your grade year after year without doing your homework and without doing the things that your school requires you to do. I asked once a group, I asked them, do you think that the teachers work very hard? What do you think? You think your teachers work very hard? Okay. Let me invite you to think the following. In your mind, put the picture of a teacher with 25 kids in her classroom. All right? Now we're looking at a teacher with 25 kids in her classroom. Now, an exam is given to the students. She picks up, or he picks up the exams, and 3 days later, the exams are given to you and they correct it. When do you think that the teacher did that? Anybody want to tell me? Yes, in those 3 days, but when? She did it, or he did it at home. While you're watching television, the teacher is working for you. So it's not true that at 3 o'clock the bell rings and the teacher goes home to watch television or to go to the movies. The teachers now have for 25 exams to correct and very little time to do it. So I want you to know that during the summer, when you go to camp and you go and have a good time, the teachers prepare the school year for you, the school program. So the teachers work easily 70 hours a week, and you don't realize it. 2 hours at home, at night, 4 hours on the weekends, and so on. The teachers do have a very hard job. Let's give all you teachers a big hand. So with that, one thing should be clear in your mind. You teachers went to school, went through all the things that you're going through as students. They became teachers and they work very hard. You are supposed to do the same thing. You want to be as successful as your teacher and as successful as the people that I'm going to introduce to you right now. There is a lady, a Puerto Rican lady, that is a very dynamic place. She is here to talk to you about her visits to the White House, about her success in general in life. But she also is going to tell you that that it wasn't easy for her to be in the position that she is today. She is a consultant to the White House. And between you and I, we don't want her to hear this. She was once, not too long ago, Miss Puerto Rico. Let's give a big hand to Peggy Hernandez.
Thank you. But you know what's even more special? I want you to listen to me. I graduated from school 15. I was here 8 years. I was supposed to leave to California today, but when they told me they were coming here, I wanted to make sure, because this is where I got my base. This is where I had my dreams. I need your attention, because when I was here, it was silence all the time. But I wanted to let you know, I'm not going to continue until everybody's listening, because I was one of you, and it is important that I'm here, so you will know that someone, when the times when I was going to school here a long time ago, I'll tell you, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I got 2 daughters that are lawyers already. So I know it's pretty old, but I feel young. And I wanted to let you know that from this school is where I started having my dreams. And let me tell you what I wanted to do. And I remember sitting in the audience and somebody coming to speak. And I said to myself, I think someday I'm going to be president of the United States. Maybe that would have been silly and all the friends say, oh yeah, whatever. But I didn't become president of the United States. But right now, I am a consultant to the President of the United States, where last week I was with him 2 or 3 times in different activities. We were on the same program together. And I sit at the White House at a table with the President, and he's asking for my advice. And one day when he said to me what I was thinking, I said to him, I cannot believe that a girl via Paterson, New Jersey, School 15, Eastside High School, Kennedy High School, is here giving advice to the President of the United States. So that was pretty cool. And let me tell you what that does. Even though I'm not president, I got close to my dreams. I'm there at the White House, and that's why all of you have to dream very big, so you can get close. And for people that are in sports, at one time I also wanted to be someone that was in sports. Now I meet all the sports people. With Ricky Martin, all the singers, when he was at the White House, I was there. At the parties we have, I meet all the stars, all the football players. Every time the president gives an award to the World Series champions or to the people that win any of the championships, I'm there. So what I'm saying to you, that a career, and if you shoot very high, you can make it. You can get close. Maybe you won't be that sports person, but you can work in the area of sports. And you don't have the skills to be a great basketball player or football player, you can be a lawyer for the sports team. You can do anything you want and be in the area that you want to be just by having a dream and deciding. And I am also a consultant to the governor of Puerto Rico. As a Puerto Rican, I only remember when I was growing up seeing West Side Story and all these movies and being called a spick. You know, I didn't know what a spick was until about 5 years ago. That word was real nasty. And it showed me that words can hurt. And for you young people here, when somebody calls you a name, it's only a word. Because do you know that spick, that was terrible? I changed it to be spick, special people in charge. But all it means is I don't speak English. And I thought they were talking about my mother or something when they would say those nasty words. So I want you to know that words, or anybody that's trying to hurt you or say negative things about you, they're only words. It's all how you feel, what you do, and what you do in these young grades is very important. Let me tell you that once you get to high school, at college you can forget. You have to start. You go to college. I'm not saying forget college. But your base and what you want to do and your skills and your habits of studying and your grades, it has to start here. when I went here, I think I had 2 B's, and the rest throughout all my 8 years were A's. I worked hard. I didn't speak English as well as many of you did, and I still was able to do it, and I think that's what has helped me in business and what I do now. My base that I have good skills of studying. I study every night. When he was talking about your teachers doing homework, do you think I know everything that's going on in the world? But if I go to a meeting with a president or with a governor, I have to do homework. I read almost every night, 2 to 3 hours. Every time I get a chance, I'm always reading. When I'm on the airplanes, I read, because that is the only way that you're gonna know. Don't learn from what other people say, because that means that person telling you something, it's maybe not telling you the correct information. They're just telling you what they heard. Have you ever heard a gossip? When you hear a gossip, by the time it gets to you, the whole gossip is different than what it really happened. So the same thing, pick it up. Learn. When you have a question to ask someone. Get a book, go to the library, get into the internet. But that is the way I'm learning, and I'm still learning. And this is how I taught my children. My 2 girls who are lawyers right now, is to constantly ask questions and do research. What I want for you children here in School 15 is what I wanted for myself, for you to have a dream, for you to succeed, and to tell you, here is a Puerto Rican girl from a mother from I lived on Graham Avenue, and I was able to do it, and not because 100 people are out there helping me. I believe that you have to help yourself first. You have to have good grades. You have to work hard. And once you do that, then the doors will open for you. And I was telling some people, some of my friends now, because let me tell you something. Your principal here, I went to school with her. Her husband and I graduated high school. I went to school with many of the people that are here right now sitting, and the Puerto Ricans and the Hispanics when we were at a long time ago, same age as probably even a little older than your mothers, a lot of the people succeeded. You have your principal Santana from School 11 was in our class. So a lot of the people that were here, the Puerto Ricans, the few that were like 20 or 30 families, that were called SPIC, that were called names, we all succeeded. And I am so proud to have been part of that group. And I want to tell you something that I think it's wonderful what they're doing with Black Month, African American Month, Black History Month, because it's helping the Black community understand who they are and all the great people that have been before them and what they've done. Someday I hope to see Hispanic Month. And let me tell you something when we talk about, I know we're talking about for the ones that are not Hispanic here and Save Latin America, we are all intertwined. I mean, the same people, when the people from Africa came to this country, a lot of them came not with them wanting to come, but they also went to the islands, the Caribbean islands. So our blacks in all the islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, all probably came from the same place that the blacks that are here, that were in the 13 colonies in the South. So in a way, we all like the same big family. And I think we're all connected somewhere or another, because in Puerto Rico and in the islands, we were 400 years of Spanish rule from Spain. And then our Indians, we had Indians there that the Spaniards, between bringing diseases from Europe, they all died. And then we had the Africans in the island. So Puerto Ricans and people in the Caribbean are made up of European, Black, and some of the Indians that we have. So we are one big family, and when I see Black History Month, I'm saying someday what I want to do is everything that I did and have done is to make sure I let you know. That is important, and I usually speak a lot and just talk, but I wanted to bring something to read to you, since this is Black History Month, to give you some and borrow from them some of the things Hispanic has done. So I want you to listen, because I'm going to read it, so this way I'll give you accurate information. Since 1917, Puerto Ricans have been citizens of the United States. We were colonized by the United States in 1898 after 400 years of Spanish rule. We Puerto Ricans have demonstrated a sincere loyalty to our American citizenship. But besides loyalty, Puerto Ricans have made great contributions to the development of the general life of our American nation. Now, I know that I'm talking about Puerto Ricans, but I'll give you an example. I know there's Hispanics here from the Dominican Republic. You know the Three Musketeers? That they say they think it was written by a gentleman named Dumas. And everybody thinks he's French because he wrote it from France. He's a Dominican who went to France and wrote it, okay? For the Dominican people here, and there's a lot of history. And in the future, I'm going to make sure that I know the diversity of the people in the audience so I can give you some information. But right now, I'm going to concentrate, I'm going to give you some information on Puerto Ricans. But remember, many of you have your Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, and there's a mixture here. San Juan was a city of almost 20,000 people, which was largest than any city in the U.S., which had 5,000. What does that mean? We're trying to tell you that people are saying, where do Puerto Ricans come from, whatever. We were here 500 years, over 200 plus years of history and a culture and a civilization before Pocahontas and before the 13 colonies were established. So when people say to you, oh gosh, you're Hispanic, or you're nothing, or you're black, you're nothing. The history that we have for the African American students here in Africa, and the history that we had in the islands before the U.S. and colonies is very rich. Now many of you have to pay attention to me for a little bit. I'm only going to ask you for 5 minutes. Okay? This is what makes you winners and losers. You know what winners are? Winners are people that say, I listen, so I have this information. Losers are the people that say, I should have listened, but I was busy talking, or I was busy doing something else. So if you want to be a winner in life, like you told Mr. Torres that you wanted to be successful, being successful is having knowledge and knowing. When I go any place, even though there are people talking, I've been to about 30 census programs that they're talking about census. I can give a report on census. But every time I go, I learn one little thing, and that's important to me. So I need you to pay attention to this. Christopher Columbus was sent by Queen Isabella. So think about it. She sold her jewelry to send Christopher Columbus to this new land. If that Spanish woman had not done that, this might not be the America that you know today. So that is key to know that history does not give enough credit to the Spanish. These are the Spanish ancestors that many of us have. It was from Puerto Rico that Ponce de Leon discovered Florida. Did you know he was the governor of Puerto Rico? And he went and he wanted to be young, and they told him, the Indians, that it was a fountain of youth, and that's why he went. The most ancient city in the United States, because for those that don't know, Puerto Rico is the United States. It's part of the United States. So they take credit for many of the things that we have done. Puerto Rico, ancient city of 200, that's over 200 years older than any city in the United States, is San Juan. San Juan is the second capital the Spaniards built. The first one, they had gone to Spain, to the Dominican Republic. The governor's mansion is the oldest mansion ever used in all the United States. The largest fort was built in Puerto Rico by the conquistadors, and is the largest fort in the United States. If you ever look for the largest fort, or you go into your internet, the largest and most important tropical forest is in Puerto Rico, and it's in El Yunque. And the United States claims that as the largest forest and tropical forest in the U.S. How many people saw Contact, the movie, with Jodie Foster? Well, you saw, in some of the James Bond movie, you saw that big telescope? That's the telescope in Puerto Rico. It is the largest in the whole wide world. And it's in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, so and that's where it was filmed, the movie. And then you hear a lot of people talking about English only, that they think people should only speak English. Well, let me tell you that in England, the best people that speak the English language is the Shakespearean actors. And there's a club called the Shakespearean Club, and they have voted for the best actor of Shakespearean English to Jose Ferrer, which is a Puerto Rican actor from Puerto Rico who did a bunch of Shakespearean. I want to tell you what Puerto Rico does now in terms of what they do. You know the Windows, the program Windows? You know the Pentium? Every single Pentium motherboard is built in Puerto Rico by Puerto Rican hands and Puerto Rican people, or actually Puerto Rican, and there's a lot of Hispanics in Puerto Rico, but it's done in Puerto Rico. And most underwear, polos, that Playtex, Hanes is all in Puerto Rico. Did you know Tylenol, aspirin, all of it is made in Puerto Rico? And 80% of the perfumes that say made in the United States are made in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is the 6th largest consumer of all the states. Do you know what that means? Like you have 50 states, and Puerto Rico is the 6th largest consumer. Consumer means is that they buy the most. So if Puerto Ricans stop buying, the people in the United States, there'll be 600,000 people without jobs. And that's how important that economy is. All Puerto Ricans have been in every single war that you can think of. I know that Puerto Ricans are in with Ricky Martin, Jennifer Lopez, and everyone, but the key thing to all this is that we have been in all the time. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know I would continue on and on, but I don't want to get you all bored or restless or anything like that. What I want to leave you with is one little sentence, okay? And I want to read it to you. Small opportunities are often the beginning of great enterprises. All things are difficult before they become easy. High risk will give you high rewards. Forget the past, remember the future. Someday many of you will be in key positions, and you're going to remember where you came from. Help others. And if you wait too long for people to pity you and for you to just waste your time in this school, the train is going to leave you. And there's a train to opportunities out there. Jump on it. If you jump on it early enough now and you decide you want to be something now, and then you change your mind, you can always get on a different train. But if you stay at the station, you'll be waiting to get on that train and you'll be a loser in that train station. So start from now, deciding what you want to do, working for it, and keep changing the trains along the line. And I will see you someday up here telling some of the students that went to this school what you've done and how you did it. Thank you very much.
Very good. One thing Peggy said, listen, listen. And let me tell you why that is important. In this room, out of the whole audience, in June, three of you are going to be invited with your parents and your teachers to a party, and a plaque is going to be given to three of you, one each. Let me tell you why. Because your teachers are going to ask you to write an essays on the presentations today. Then we are going to select the three best essays, and we're going to present an award to the three authors of those essays. How many of you are going to be invited which three of you are going to be invited in June for that party? Hands up. Terrific. That means you're going to be listening and you're going to be paying attention and you're going to be writing the best essays, the best report. And for that, you have to thank three people. First, Dr. William DeRoy. Edwin DeRoy. Who is him? Duroy. He is your school superintendent. And he is the one who allowed us to bring our program, Reaching Our Dreams, to the Paterson school systems. But there is a person who was the liaison between our organization and Dr. Edwin Duroy, and that is Saida Padilla. Let's give her a big hand. She is responsible for us being here today. Now I'd like to bring before you another gentleman who I think was born and raised in this part of Paterson. He is a social worker by profession, and he is working very hard to provide the people of this city a better government. Let's give a big hand to Juan Torres.
Good morning. ¿Cómo están todo el mundo? ¿Cómo? Ah, pero qué grupo maravilloso. What a wonderful group. Let me just say that Maria Magda, our 5th Ward Councilwoman, who represents this ward, the 5th Ward is where you live, right around this general area here. Was originally supposed to be here. She got tied up doing something came up very important, and she could not make it. She says, Juan, go up there and represent me and speak to the wonderful children at school number 15. Let me just say that I also went to school 15 in my early years. So this is one of my schools that brings me memories. And although it's true that I've been in Paterson almost all of my life, I say almost because I was really born in Puerto Rico, Camuy, Puerto Rico. I came here when I was 1 year old. My parents came struggling. My father worked at a grocery store. My mother worked at a factory as a seamstress. But they were good at what they did, and they worked very hard so that I could, and the rest of my brothers and sisters, could grow up and have a better life than they did. So let me give you a little bit information about myself. I went to the Paterson school system from kindergarten to 8th grade. I graduated from Passaic County Technical High School, which used to be in Paterson. I was the last class to graduate from Passaic County Tech. And my brother was the first class to graduate from the new school in Wayne. From there, I was inducted into the U.S. Army. I served 3 years during the Vietnam War, although I did not go to Vietnam, but it was my job to send those people overseas, make sure that everything they needed was taken care of. Now, when I finished the Army, under what they call under the veterans benefits, I was able to go to college. They paid for the college. I went to college on a part-time basis, which means that it took me, if college is 4 years, it should take me double, about 8 years. It took me about 6.5 years because I took extra credits. I went through the summer, and so I stretched it a little bit and I finished quicker. But I did go on a part-time basis, and I was also working at the time. I was also married. So, in things, life don't come easy. You have to work for them. I worked most of my life as a social worker. I worked as a human resources manager. That is a person that hires and sometimes fires and takes care of problems and does union negotiations. I worked in that capacity for 6 years. I've also, I don't know if you know it or not, up until recently, in fact more like a couple of days ago, I was a substitute teacher for the Paterson school system. I've been substituting. Right now, I'm in the process of taking a new job with the county as a personnel director. That is the person that hires people and that it solves many problems and gets involved with union negotiations. You should have a dream like Dr. Martin King that had a dream. I have a dream. You all should have a dream. I have a dream. Now, my dream right now is to become your next Paterson City Councilman for the 5th Ward. Not just a politician, but that's my dream right now. And I am running for the 5th Ward, and this is something that I want to accomplish. So this is what you should shoot for. You should shoot for something that you want to do, something that you feel that can help you, make society better, that can make people better, make people's lives better. So that's what I want to do. So I'm really here as a candidate also, as a candidate that I can tell you that if I can do it, you can do it. I got a dream, you have a dream, stick with your dream. Now, let me ask you this. How many people here, how many students here are Dominicans? How many are Dominicans? Come on, raise your hand. How many are Puerto Ricans? How many are other Latinos? How many are Puerto Rican and Dominicans? Okay. How many are African Americans? Raise your hand, my African American friends. Doesn't matter. We're all the same. We're all the same under God's eyes. We're all one group of people. And we all can do it. We all got to stick together. Let me have your attention, please. You can realize your dream. Say, I can do it. I can be what I want to be. Come on. We got doctors, nurses, pilots, presidents, congressmen. I'm looking at you right now, and you're going to do it. Okay? Thank you for your attention. One message I want to leave you, and this is very, very important. Please stay in school, study hard. That's what's going to get you to succeed. Please do a lot of reading, less of the TV set, less of the game, the Nintendo plane, the PlayStation. Do a lot of reading, read your books, do your homework, read the newspapers. And remember, in order for you to succeed in life, you must stay in school and study hard and graduate. Graduate from grammar school, graduate from high school, and by all means, by all God, graduate from college. Thank you and God bless you.
Girls, please. And let's give her a very energetic applause. It was very nice of her to allow us to come into her school and bring this program to you. Let me tell you, most school principals, I said before how much the teachers work. Not going to go into the details of the school principals. The school principal deals with the problems of the students, with the problems of the schools, with the problems of the teachers. And you know what? It's not an easy job. Let's give her another big hand. Thank you. Now, there is a young man that I met some years ago. It always impressed me because this person that you're going to meet next is a very special human being. city of Paterson. Let's give Mr. Eli Burgos a big hand.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. Let me tell you that every day I go home, I have to compete with you for my wife's time. So you come home with her every single day, and she's always concerned about school number 15 and all of the students and the faculty that are here every day with her. This is her second home. I grew up in Paterson. I was born in Puerto Rico, but I've been here since 1953. So Peggy didn't want to tell you her age, but I'll tell you I'm 51. And she graduated high school with me.
I was 10.
And she was 10. But there are a lot of wonderful things that happen to us every day. Like Martin Luther King, I too had a dream. And I was so deep into my dream. And I was dreaming that I was driving this car, this is only in the 5th grade, and I was dreaming that I was speeding along the highway, and all of a sudden that dream just came crashing down when the teacher hit me over the head with a book and told me, wake up, you're in class. But let me tell you one thing, I never stopped dreaming. And that teacher, when they put me in the closet as punishment for dreaming, for daydreaming, they didn't take that ability of me to think that someday what I was dreaming about would come true. The one thing I feared the most growing up was that I was never going to reach the age of being able to drive a car. When I was growing up, they were talking about nuclear bombs, and we had a very, very cold war with the communists around the world, and everything was about the atomic bomb, and we had to do atomic bomb drills, etc., in the shelters. So it was a very scary time for me. I did not grow up with bilingual education. It didn't exist in those days. So the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade for me were very, very difficult. I wasn't learning the context of what was being taught. I was trying to learn English. And if any of you right now go to another country where they don't speak Spanish or English, it becomes very difficult to understand what everyone else is saying. So learning the English language and learning the lesson at the same time, for those of you who are experiencing it, it's going to be difficult, but you know, it'll be over. It'll be over sooner than you know it. I'm wearing a pair of shoes right now that are 5 years old, and they have a nice shine to them. Let me tell you about these shoes. My wife bought them for me the trip that we took down in South America, and they're probably the best looking shoes in my closet. Let me tell you why. As I was growing up, there wasn't a better shoe shine guy around than I was. And I used to charge 15 cents for shiny shoes. And they used to give me a quarter every time I was shining somebody else's shoes. They always gave me a tip. Even my brother couldn't compete with me, because I was set on being the best shoe shine kid in the city. So even then, as a youngster, I told myself that whatever I was going to do, I was going to try to be the best at it, even if it meant shiny shoes. But I'll tell you what, you talk about Adidas nowadays, and you talk about Nikes and so forth. Well, back in my days, I wanted to get a pair of Converse. Everybody else was wearing US Keds. I wanted to have a pair of Converse. So I went out there, and I was shining a lot of shoes to buy those pair of Converses, and I did. So those dreams that you have, small as they might be today, can be a tremendous amount of help in tomorrow's life. The last thing I expected to be, as I was in school, just like you are today, was to someday be the boss of the superintendent of schools. And in 1989, when I ran for the school board and I won, I became the superintendent's boss, along with 8 other people who were commissioners of the Board of Education. So never underestimate, even today, what you're going to be doing tomorrow. And yes, some of your dreams are going to change. As you grow up, as you experience different things, you're going to realize that something that you're dreaming about today may not necessarily be to your liking, and you're going to change. So it's good to think about the future and about what career you're going to take in the future, but be flexible. And just because you don't achieve one objective doesn't mean you can't achieve another objective. So never give up. I have 2 jobs in the city of Paterson. I've been with the city for 26 years. And for the last 16, I've been the director of purchasing for the city of Paterson. What does that mean? That means that everything that the government of the city of Paterson buys, from the very small thumbtacks to the big fire trucks and everything in between, I'm the one who has to buy it for the city. The police cars, the motorcycles, the ambulances, everything that you see out there that says City of Paterson on it, including the repairs of the buildings, tissue paper, everything, I have to buy. So it's a tremendous responsibility, about $50 to $60 million every year. So it's a tremendous job. I didn't think I was going to be doing it when I was in your age in school, but today I'm doing it. But last year, the mayor said, Mayor Marty Barnes, you all know Mayor Marty Barnes, don't you? Okay. The mayor asked me to be a deputy mayor for the city of Paterson, meaning that after the mayor, you have a deputy mayor, and I have 2 other deputy mayors that work alongside me. Another tremendous responsibility, because now, besides having my job and doing all of this work for the city, I also have to now do more work, just like the mayor does. Being here today, cutting ribbons for new businesses, talking to people about how great this city is, what it used to be, and how it can come back. And let me tell you something about our city. You are our city. Every one of you. Your parents live here, just like you do. Your parents own homes, or they rent homes. You are what make Paterson survive. You're vibrant. And your vibrancy is what keeps Paterson moving. What Paterson becomes tomorrow is up to us today. And Paterson has a tremendous amount of rich history. The first submarine, Paterson. The steam locomotive that opened up the frontiers of the West, Paterson. And even some things that today are not very popular, but helped us in so many wars, the Colt revolver, Paterson. So there's a rich history. The Silk City, the silk capital of the world at one time, Paterson. And when you talk to people, as Peggy has in her travels throughout the United States and out in other nations, people know about Paterson, and they know Paterson. The first industrial city of the United States, right here. That's why we're here today. That's why your parents are here today, because Paterson offers opportunities for jobs, offers opportunities for growth. Juan's father was a bodega owner, and that way he was able to, help his family be here and own property and do the kinds of things that he was able to do. Put the bread on the table. Peggy and Astis, a very dear friend for so many years, and a person that walks in and out of the White House like you and I walk out of our homes. Also a business owner. That's what we have to do to keep Paterson going. Getting involved and staying involved. The easiest thing in the world to do is the wrong thing. Doing the bad things. Doing the things that people like to do, being mischievous, because it comes easy. The price you pay is heavy, but it comes very easy. The difficult thing to do is to walk away from those bad things. And that is what makes the difference between you being a good person and you being a bad person. Having the inner strength to be able to turn around and walk away from trouble rather than staying there and being part of the trouble. You, as residents of Paterson, make Paterson. The way you go is the way Paterson goes. Think about it. The way you go is the way Paterson goes. All of us here today, we're still here in Paterson. My wife and I don't have to live in the city, but we do, because we like the city. We enjoy the city, and we want to be part of the growth of this city, and the continued growth. So when you leave her in the afternoons, and she comes home to me, and helps me in my task, and I help her in her task, we have School 15 in our minds, and we have all of you in our minds, and in our best interest. So on behalf of the mayor of the city of Paterson, Marty Barnes, who sends us greetings, I say, continue to help us, to help the city, and this way the city can help you. Paterson's been very good to me and my family. It's going to be just as good and even better to you and your families. So help us to make Paterson a better place to live. Thank you very much.
Before we go into a period of questions and answers, I'd like to tell you, he mentioned something very interesting. He used to be, as a young boy, he used to be a shoe shine. Imagine a headline, from shoe shine boy to deputy mayor of the city of Paterson. Let's give him a big hand. When I was a little boy, I also had a dream. I wanted to be an interior designer. Things were not easy, but I am an interior designer. So whatever you dream, you could accomplish if you really need to accomplish it. Many of us sometimes want things, but you know what? We're lazy. We don't do our work. I'm sure, very sure that some of you have very interesting questions for our panel of speakers today. Who wants to come to the first question? You have enough information that you, I'm sure, stimulate a lot of questions in your mind. Who's the first question? Yes. Guadalupe? No. Guadalupe is not here. She didn't come. But who do you have a question? Who do you think is Guadalupe here? Padilla. You have a question for her.
I want to know, how did she become what she is today?
Very good question. Let's give him a big hand.
Okay, today I have a position which is, the title is a little strange. It may sound a little strange. It's called an ombudsman. They changed the title to ombudsperson because I'm a woman. And I am the first, and I've been the only ombudsperson for the Paterson Public Schools. What that means is sort of like a mediator, somebody who mediates. If there's a problem with a parent, sometimes, or a concern, or even a suggestion for good things to happen here, they come to my office when they have used all of the resources within the school. I came in originally when the superintendent was Dr. Wilson at the time, and one of the reasons why I came in was because the Latino population of parents were, according to at the time, according to most of the people, had been ignored for a long time, and they were not getting the information about the services and everything else that we offer within the Paterson School District. So that's the reason why I came in. And I'm very happy because I am able to help not only parents but also individuals, and especially nowadays that we get so many immigrants into our district who don't really know their rights as parents. They come to my office, and through the facilitation of my office, they get information which is vital for them, for you to come to school. I'll give you an example. Sometimes we get immigrants from, let's say, from South America, and they don't know that the children can come to the schools although they don't have residency. You know the green card, for those of you who are not from the United States originally? That green card gives you the benefit of being a resident, a legal resident. Well, sometimes people get here and they're not legal residents, but yet they do, the children do have the right to education, to be educated. The children have the right to have lunch in school, even though they don't have a social security number. Okay, so those are the kinds of things that they don't know. And in my office, we facilitate that information, and we sort of take you by the hand, so to speak, throughout the system so that you may get to know what Paterson School District is all about. I also have another title, and that's Affirmative Action Officer. And with that means, I hope that all of you know what affirmative action is all about. That is the program that helps you to not be discriminated in any way, shape, or form. So that's what I do. And how did I come here? How did I get here? I got here because I have a master's degree in social work. I came from Puerto Rico in the 1960s, and I went to a high school, which was the very first Catholic high school in the United States of America. And that's called John W. Hallahan Catholic Girls High School in Philadelphia. And I came from Catholic schools in Puerto Rico. And when I came, I didn't know much English at all. And it was very difficult for me. And especially since you know how short I am. See how short I am? I'm very, very short. Not only am I short, but to the high school that I came to, the girls were basically all, I'd say about 90% white. Tall, blue eyes, blonde, and I was tiny, dark, with long black hair. I looked like a little Indian, okay? So I was very, very different. So it took everything that I had learned from my mother and my family, the values that I had about respecting myself, respecting family values, respecting what I'm all about as a Hispanic, as a Puerto Rican, to make it. And inside of you, you have it. You have that ingredient, everyone in you, every one of you have it. But you gotta make it happen. You gotta take it out of yourself. You have to remember that you are somebody special. Thank you very much.
We don't want to cut to the lunch time, so we're going to take only one quick question and one quick answer. Evelyn has a question.
How important is it to be bilingual? How important is it to be bilingual?
How important is it to be bilingual? How important is it to be bilingual? Who wants to answer that one? Quick answer, because.
Okay, it's very important because for a lot of people that remember that the economic, all the big economics was done in Japan. Now the focus of global economic is going to be in South America. So where else can you do business with South Americans, with Hispanics that know how they feel, how people think, and they do it in English. And it is key. So most of the people getting all the great jobs are the people that are bilingual, whether there was a group of people that are bilingual in Japan from America. So now knowing Spanish is key.
Thank you. It is very, very important to be bilingual. Let's give a big hand for Mr. Burgos, for Mrs. Hernandez, for Mr. Torres, and to Padilla. And let me leave you one thing in mind. I want you to know that each one of you is a diamond. Each one of you has a lot of potential. So let's go at it. Have your dreams and work at them. Thank you.
You know what?
We want to thank all of the people that came here today, our panel, for taking up their busy schedules and sharing with us. I forgot to remind you that the only way we show our appreciation is by clapping. I heard a lot of whistling. For a minute there, I lost myself. I thought I was at a concert. But that's my fault because I should have reminded you. Anyway, again, I want to thank everyone for taking up their schedules, being here with us. And my husband tells the truth. Every day I leave here, I take you with me. Teachers, thank you. You can take the students back to class. Thank you.